What is up, guys? Logan here again with another video. I want to thank you guys for all the support as always, and I'm appreciative of your guys' patience as well, as I know I haven't uploaded for like a week. Had a lot of busy stuff going on, and we had a lot going on in the Discords too this week. So I just want to give a shout out to you guys for being so patient, as I really appreciate it. And don't forget to check the links in the description before we hop into this video. But I want to talk about some more credit spreads and what a great week it was for credit spreads this week, and kind of my mindset going through the week with them. So I really appreciate all the support as always, and let's hop right into this video. So this is the end of the week on my DIA spread. So I did receive 267. I had the average credit of about $30 or 30 cents because we're in options, right? I had 9 of these contracts. So what I ended up happening was I bought the majority of these contracts at roughly 29 cents. And then I bought a couple just over 30 and at 30. So that brought my average out to, just around 30, even though it's $3 shy of the 270. But I'm still really excited with this position as it went phenomenal this week. This was the only one of the week that I wasn't really concerned about, and even with the futures down, that was mainly tech. But DIA dipped to 299.10 as its low for the week, and that was on Monday. I entered at 303 on DIA. So to watch it fall 4 points, which was I think 1.8% on DIA on the day when it fell on Monday, about 1.8%, but I still knew I sold the 293, which gave me a little bit more probability of out of the money than the 294. But when we were at 299, I knew I had $6 of runway and more percent anyway. If we had another $4 sell-off, that's just around 2% more on DIA. So I knew I had a pretty solid amount of running room. And with the events coming up through the week, I decided just to hold, as if everything went smoothly with the Senate race, then the market would stay pretty chill. And then the VIX popped throughout the week, but still didn't panic here, and I'm still rocking this, and I rocked it into expiration because we had such a good amount of runway. Now, closing these early could be something you want to do just to avoid any after hours, right? We have an hour and a half after the market closes to where the prices can still fluctuate and drop. But with the amount of runway that I had of roughly $20 on an index fund, I decided to hold it into expiration so I could receive my 100% worth of credit. So that's one thing that I did here with DIA. Now let's hop into SPY. So like I told you guys, with SPY, what ended up happening here for me was I had 12 contracts at an average credit of 24. Now I really like this play. This play didn't require as much collateral. This was only $450 in collateral per play. So with me to get a 25-cent credit, we're looking at close to 6% on that. So I was really excited, right? Like right around 25, 24. But it came out to 290 for my total return. So this week I made 557 if we add the 290 and the 267 to make 557 with $10,000 worth of collateral, which is 5.57%, which I think is a fantastic week. And I'm super grateful and happy for it and just this opportunity this week. But what this was the 357.50, 353, like I stated earlier. So SPY got down to 366. And I think the lowest it got to, honestly, was 365.80 this week, and that was on Monday. Now, I knew I still had about $8 of runway, and I wasn't too worried as we were oversold on the day. SPY was down about 2%, which is still a pretty drastic day for some people. I assumed we would bounce back, right? And I held on my position. It was so early on the week. I know I had theta decay working in my favor overnight, so if we did gap down again, I still had a solid amount of runway to play with, and just with the probability of being out of the money, went from 88% when I entered to 81% towards close. So it's still a really high probability, and it's not my favorite when we get closer to the 70% range, as that's when deltas can start to uptick a little more, and you could see your contracts get eaten at a little more, where some will improve in value. So that's the one thing, but I'm pretty happy this week either way. Like once we hit Wednesday, it was really smooth sailing, I would say, for the rest of the week. And that was just because of how well the market performed on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Now Thursday was just a crazy day for a lot of tech stocks coming back. I think TQQQ was up almost 5% that day. On Wednesday, IWM was up like 4.5%, which is just insane to me. So if you had call credit spreads this week, you most likely would have got stopped out of those positions. So I'm very happy that we didn't take the call spreads this week, as the market was just running, and we're seeing new all-time highs on SPY, DIA, IWM. like all the index funds are just kicking right now. Now the other thing I want to touch on too, let's look at the chart, right? I want to look at the 3-month chart on SPY. So they've consistently on SPY pretty much gone sideways, I would say, right? I mean, if we look for about 2 months, because if we go to November 6th at 350.16, and that's still lower than we were back in September or August, right? When we had this little run up to 358 basically, before we did sell all the way back down to 322. So if we look at this little range, right, we're sitting at 350 starting in November. We run up, we stay pretty consistent on this uptrend before finally breaking out of this little channel to where the high was 372, and then we even saw 373.88 right around December 31st. So in the span of 2 months, I mean, we're looking at just a $20 movement on SPY, which is fantastic, I think, right? It's an index fund. But yeah, just overall, I mean, that's about a 6% move in 2 months. So it's not like that the market was going rampant. Like we've had a couple weeks, like if you look back here at May, where it's just rampant, right? Where within like 2 weeks, that thing runs up 20 bucks. Of course it's gonna correct. And same with over here, when we had these couple of weeks where we ran from 337 all the way up to 357 so quickly, it corrected. We saw pretty much the same pattern, corrected again, and then it's been pretty stable and steady, and the VIX has been lower than ever this whole year. So that's something I've been able to keep an eye on as we reach new all-time highs in the market. But yeah, if we look back, I mean, these have been some of the best months, I think, to do spreads in my opinion. And I'm curious to see what we get next week. If we will start to see some sort of correction on them, on SPY, or if we do pull back, or if we keep ripping. But overall, from what I see in this chart, that looks like a nice little breakout. So, because we've just been hanging out in this range. So I'm really excited for what's to come on SPY. And I wanted to touch on that really quickly as we were looking at the options contracts. Let's take a quick look at the weekly chart. Now I entered my SPY positions right here around 10:10. Let me see if it actually tells me exactly when. Yeah, so here's my SPY put credit spreads, as you guys can see for the week, where I loaded up here at 10:02. So if we go and look at SPY, with me purchasing at 10:02, we're looking at right here, we're 372, and we fell all the way down to 365.22. There we go. So that was the low. I waited until we bounced back towards the end of the day, and right around 2 is when I added more, because I saw this little dip that we got, and of course we dipped a little more, but I knew we still had good runway. And that was more of a, you know, I want to average my costs down play, because the percents at that point were getting really good. And then of course we stayed the course throughout the week, gapped up on Wednesday really nice, pulled back, but that's all right. Then gapped up again Thursday and had a pretty solid Friday. So this week was really insane, but if you think about where we opened, right, which was 374, 375 area, and closed over in the 380s range, even though we had a very big movement from our low to 365 all the way to our high of 381, which is a $16 movement on SPY in a week. Like, that's crazy, right? I mean, that's a pretty substantial movement compared to what we've seen the last couple of weeks on SPY, like I said, right? To where in a normal, like in this week, we saw 372, 371, 371, 373. So it's just kind of crazy to see that style of movement. But yeah, my risk management essentially here was just, hey, you know, I still have good runway at that point of 357.70, and I like to sell when we're within $1 of the strike, in my personal opinion, on the ones that I enter. So I was like, hey, I still have till about 359 for me to be worried, which is another 6 points of movement after SPY was already down 2.7% on the day. So I just kept that in mind. I was monitoring the VIX. It started to chill out towards the end of the day, so I was comfortable swinging my position with, at that point at the end of the day, $12 worth of runway on SPY. I just want to hop in the Discord real quick to show you guys me calling these plays out for everybody. Just like, here's how I'm filling SPY right here with the collateral. This was before I averaged my cost, where I said I'll make 474 with 9K, but then I added a couple more positions. As you can see, just bought another DIA for 35 credit, 500 collateral, happy where I'm at with everything for my risk tolerance. And then you could see like, hey, my DIA was still negative, right? I was down 75, but I said this is it currently on the 5th, and this is my SPY as we currently test the high for the day as well. So I could just show you guys my positions. I was walking everybody through with how I felt about my ones that I took, and then we actually had the profitable days on the spreads, and then throughout the week I mentioned the Georgia runoff, and how that may affect our positions, and then just kind of how we rolled through the spreads this week. So yeah, it was a really cool week, and I wanted to show you guys the Discord so you guys can know kind of how I walk everyone through it. But that's gonna be it for me today. I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend, and I'm just super blessed, super grateful to have such a great community. But I wanted to get this out for you guys so I could recap our trading week and also kind of inspire you guys to give credit spreads a shot, and kind of what I look for risk management, as we talked about that a lot in the last video. Hope you have a fantastic evening, fantastic weekend, and I will see you guys soon.